Master Gunnery Sergeant Scott Stalker sat down with Space Foundation's Rich Cooper during the 38th Space Symposium to talk about leadership under fire. With more than 30 years in the Corps, Stalker has plenty of experience. He's a senior enlisted leader at U.S. Space Command, and he's humble. Most military biographies include a long list of medals. Stalker's bio just says he's got as many medals as most Marines who've been to war and made it home again. Here's a preview of what Stalker had to say.
But what is your role at Space Command?
Right. Ultimately, as the senior enlisted leader or the senior enlisted advisor, I'm there to execute the commander's intent, his strategy. One of the things we did early on when I got there is he gave me a couple of lines of effort to get after our warfighting ethos, to make sure that we understand the urgency of what we do and how it is that ultimate enabler to the warfighter. And so spending time within the command focusing on that and that warfighting ethos. The second one was really focusing on developing joint warfighters that are space smart and space savvy, and then warfighters that are space warfighters that are joint savvy. And so focusing an awful lot on the professional development of our workforce, whether that's enlisted, civilian, or officer. And then there's another lane of that as well that General Dickinson has had me get after, and that is making sure our reserve and our guard, which are critical components to the command, understand his intent and guidance, where they fit in that, and how they support his decision making.
What does space mean to a Marine?
So what does space mean to a Marine? Well, you know, one thing I try to remind folks is, as I hear people talk about this new domain, is it is not new. It's been supporting warfighters for decades now. What it means to a Marine is it allows us to execute the Commandant's planning guidance. It allows us to get after supporting the maritime force, and it gives the Secretary, my commander, and others decision-making space. So we're looking at the ability to use satellite communications as we collectively deploy. And you know, if you listen to General Dickinson this morning, he talked about mission command in that triad of triads. We have to execute mission command. We're able to use space-based capabilities, but we have adversaries that might choose to deny or degrade that. And so it's being able to use those capabilities, whether it's ISR, SATCOM, precision-guided munitions, you name it, GPS, but also being able to fight and win without it is critical. And so as we focus on the development of the joint force, we want them to understand the great capabilities that space brings, but we also need them to understand that you may have to fight and win without that. And so it's kind of a little bit of both there.
You mentioned that space has been something that's supported your role and the other services, but that role has evolved dramatically, particularly over the past couple of years with the use of commercial space assets and new technologies and new services. How have you seen that evolution with the use of the commercial industry?
Well, you just take the command in general, where we were a few years ago with our commercial integration cell, how the commander has generated his commercial strategy, and how our commercial integration cell has continued to grow. You can pick your conflict, you can see what's been going on in the Ukraine, and being able to tell that story to the American people because of the great capabilities of commercial space makes it a lot easier. And it's important that we can tell that story and not hide behind some of the higher classification and really exquisite things that we have. So it's an ultimate enabler. You know, we talk about a whole of government approach a lot. In many ways, that's that whole of society approach where you have commercial, you have academia, and you have the government and our partners and allies. You put all of that together, that is a powerful weapon system.